It's me. How are you today? Kathleen Michelle Avila here in Central Florida talking about real estate. Excited because, there's a lot of talk about, the market right now. And so it's a perfect time for everyone to gather some information and learn more about what's happening in Florida in this market. And today with me, I have Sandy Williams. Thanks for being here. And Sandy's going to be sharing with us some things that will really help us right now because, Sandy, would you say that this is a buyer's market?
I definitely would say it is. The sellers today are still, they're still stuck in the 2020 prices. And because that they are still adjusting to the new way of the new market, the buyers have the advantage because first of all, we know that there's not as many buyers out there. So the ones that are out there, they have no competition and they get to pick and choose. While the sellers are getting a little antsy because it's not moving right off the listing's not moving very fast.
Right.
So it's very, it's an interesting market, but a good one, I think.
Yeah, and I think or I believe it's important for people to realize if you're waiting for the perfect time to buy a home, as a buyer, now would be a great time, right?
Definitely. And, the old saying that the best time to buy was 5 years ago. So if you're waiting, 5 years from now, you're going to be saying that, man, I should have bought back then because like I was saying, it's the competition's really low right now. And if you are pre-approved and you got your down payment ready and you got your realtor picked out and your lender picked out, why wait?
Mm-hmm. And you know what I like about it being a buyer's market right now is that there's a lot more room for negotiating.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So this is a time where people are able to really negotiate in the price. And a lot of people are saying, well, I'm waiting for, the rates to go down, or I'm waiting for the prices to go down. But we've seen prices really level out. And for those who are selling, they're like, well, we're not going down. We'll just take it off the market. So there's a misconception that everybody's just going to drop their homes by 100,000 but that's not happening. Things have leveled out, and there is a time right now where people can negotiate, like you said, and still get a great deal. And the longer people wait, I've noticed, Sandy, that the prices actually increase instead of decreasing.
Right.
Someone said statistically it's like $10,000 a month that goes by. As much as $10,000 goes onto the house every month that someone waits. What do you think about that?
And I also believe that that with the houses not flying off the shelves as fast as they were before, but people still need homes. They're still moving here. They're still, whether it be for job reasons, whether it be for maybe they need to increase the size of their home because they have a newborn on the way. There's so many reasons that people still need to buy homes. And renting, which we'll touch on that. Renting just isn't the best investment. It's not even an investment at all.
Yeah, and so that's true. And I believe if you can own your property, it's so much better because you're paying your mortgage, not someone else's. You're paying for something that is going to build equity and something that you can use for your own loan if you wanted to, right? Yeah. Which I've done before.
Oh, yes. Not too long ago, I refinanced and I pulled out some money, and I was so thankful that I had that built up, the equity to be able to do that.
And when you're renting, you're paying someone's mortgage and you can never borrow against yourself, but when you own, you can. Exactly. And so if you're on, the cusp, you're like, I'm not sure, and I'm not sure how things are going to go, and I'm going to hold off. Well, a lot of people wait, and that's when, everyone jumps in the game. We saw that several years back where people were on this fence of waiting. It seemed like they just jumped in all at once and wanted to buy. And people were buying homes with sight unseen without even looking at the home in person, without having an inspection period, and going $50,000+. I remember writing an offer because this couple really wanted this house, going 50,000 over, and some were going 100. It was
a crazy time.
It was a crazy time. We're not there right now. That's why this is a perfect time to buy, because if you're buying and you're waiting for, you know, that rate to go down, well, the rate has come down a little bit, and there's always what you did, which is refinancing. It's better to get a home that's at a great price right now that you can refinance down the road, right?
Well, it's a fair playing field now. I think it's leaning more towards a buyer's market, but it's not. It's equal. Buyers and sellers can negotiate fairly now compared to back in 2020, 2019. That was a crazy time, and it's not normal. It's not normal. I don't know about other professionals, but I hope it never goes back to that, because I just don't feel like it was fair to either party.
No, and for the buyers, it wasn't fair at all, because,
Right.
they needed a home. And so right now we're talking about buying versus renting, but I also want to start talking a little bit about someone who's buying their first home. Now, there's a program called FHA, and that's their first home buyer program with a mortgage company, where you can put 3% down, 3.5% down, or 5%. And a lot of people like to go in that direction for that. You can also do a conventional for like 5% down if you
Right.
wanted to. But what are the benefits, or the financial benefits, would you say, for getting an FHA, and who can get an FHA?
Well, first-time home buyers can, and pretty much everybody, if I believe.
As long as they haven't bought a house in the last 3 years. So
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, there are qualifications, and I don't like to play lender because I leave it to the professionals.
right,
But for the most part, it's a lower down payment,
right.
and then if you haven't owned a home in 3+ years, then you qualify for first-time home buyers, and there's programs too that are so beneficial, and the programs are constantly changing. And then with the FHA, you there's other benefits too.
Oh yeah, there's a lot. I mean, I remember it's a lot of people during that market, the craze, they were like, when you would put in an offer, if it wasn't conventional or cash, people weren't even looking at it. But that's because FHA typically takes a little bit longer. But with the market being, steady right now, it's not completely slow. In some areas it might be, but with it being stable, those FHA loans are going through pretty quick.
Yeah.
So you don't have to worry about it taking a long time. And realtors who are listing are not turning a blind eye to them. They're
Right.
actually accepting FHA.
They used to, and they're
They
not
would.
anymore. And there's even programs where you can put zero down. You don't even have to put 100 or 5% down, 100% down. But you don't even. There are zero down payments. So
Yeah.
it's important to find a good lender that is very knowledgeable of all the programs available, because that'll make a big difference in your success.
That's true. And if you're looking for a realtor, you can talk to Sandy Williams. There's her email address right there. And I'll also put mine up here in a little bit. But we work together, and we have a team. We're doing great things, excited about 2026. And so that's why we wanted to really grab a hold. We have 1,000 people, I believe. How many? It's 1,000 a week moving to Florida. And it's actually grown. That's an old statistic. People really want to be in the sun. They want to be by the beach. They want to be somewhere, if there is a pandemic, they can still go outside and enjoy things.
And right now is when it's really getting busy, because the snowbirds are coming down here and they're getting away from the snow.
Mhm.
And so if there are any sellers out there listening, it's a great time to list your house as well.
Yes, and we love doing that, right? Because we have an opportunity to showcase the home. We're Zillow Premier agents also, and the marketing is phenomenal. We also do open houses. So if you are listing your home, we'd love to help you with that. And you can reach out to me as well. And there's my email address as well. And I wanted to also talk a little bit more as well about reasons why you like owning your home.
Well, I like to feel like I'm investing in myself and investing in my future and maybe my kids' future.
Right.
If I'm living in an apartment, I am not building any equity anywhere and I'm just throwing money away. And God forbid if something were to happen to me, my kids, they wouldn't inherit property from me. They would have to clean out an apartment. So I look at my house as a little nest egg, as a gift to hopefully one day go to my kids. And I don't expect them to keep it, but I do expect them to it be an investment for them, and they can decide to do what they want to with it.
I like that. And so if you're trying to figure out, you're on the fence, now is a great time to buy. Don't wait for everyone to pull the trigger, so to speak, and go, okay, now I'm going to buy. And everyone's out there. This is how it always happens, right? It just seems like it. And
because if you're waiting, others are waiting too.
Exactly.
And then everybody's going to be in a frenzy and we're going to be right back where we were. And we don't want to go there.
Yes. And so what I want to talk about quickly for those who have never purchased a home, and maybe you feel like you don't even know where to start, you're at the right place, because we're going to give you a really quick like ABC. It's easy. A lot of people feel overwhelmed with the thought of purchasing a home because they've never done it, or they've done it in the past and it was hard with whoever they had. What is the first step to a home purchase?
Finding a good realtor. Talking to a realtor, interviewing a realtor, more than one realtor. I recommend 3. And I have a survey, an application, if you will, questions to ask a realtor when you're talking to them. My sheet has all my answers, and then you can compare it to agent 1 and 2. And I guarantee that if you ask these questions, that agent's going to know that you are on top of things. It makes you sound very on the ball.
Exactly.
And you may be surprised at seeing a deer in headlights look, but that tells you, oh, maybe this isn't the agent for me. These questions are very important.
Exactly. And so finding a good realtor, someone who's going to work. I've met realtors where they list a home and then they don't ever do an open house. They don't advertise. They're not even on the MLS.
Don't answer their phones. That's the biggest complaint I hear is from other agents.
Right.
People don't answer their phones.
Yep.
Me, I walk around all the time.
Yep.
With my
Mine's
phone.
Velcroed to me. So it's important that you get a realtor who answers text, answers the phone, because when you're, especially an investor, that's how I became a realtor. First, I was investing in homes, doing Airbnb, and I couldn't get a hold of a realtor who would actually answer their phone on the weekend. So I'm like, this is ridiculous. So the first realtor that answered, I'm like, I'm going with this person, got the house. I was like, okay, as long as they're doing their job, I don't care what company, as long as they can get me what I need.
Right.
After that, and the frustration, I got my license so that I could do my own investments and actually started helping people. And I enjoy it.
That's funny you said that. I was a real estate paralegal for 22 years. And I never wanted to be a realtor. I liked being on the legal side of things and helping realtors do their contracts and, order surveys and appraisals and whatever they needed. I enjoyed that side of things. But then I found that realtors, I shouldn't say all, because there are a lot of good ones, but a lot of realtors out there weren't doing their jobs, and I was doing the job of a realtor. And I thought, well, why aren't I doing this?
Yeah.
So I eventually, after 22 years, I retired as a real estate paralegal, got my license, and my biggest goal was to be the realtor that I saw others being, not being.
Right.
If that makes sense.
To fill in the gaps of where you felt it needed help.
We have a bad reputation in many aspects.
Right.
And I wanted to change that.
That's good. And that's why I'm really excited about working together, because you have that legal background where you've been in it, and Sandy's really great with paperwork and making sure the T's are crossed, the I's are dotted. And so that works great. And it's so fun having a team to work with who, if I can't catch a call, she will, or, and that's the benefit of having people on your side, like a team of people. It's not just one person who's maybe out on vacation and you have to wait till they get back, you know?
Right.
And so okay, so the first thing is finding a realtor, a good one that you can feel comfortable with, you can trust, someone who's going to answer their phone, especially in a market where it is a seller's market and you're trying to find any home you can get, and you don't want to lose that home. But even in a buyer's market, I always tell people this is crazy. A house can be on the market, Sandy, and you know this, for 200 days. Okay. I bring my buyer out and they want to put an offer. They're like, yeah, it's been on for 200 days. Let me think about it. I always tell them, don't wait to put an offer if you love this home. If you're at least 80% or more sure this is the home, because it's not, you're
It
never
could
gonna,
happen anytime.
right? You're never going to find the perfect home unless you build it yourself. You know, there's going to be
And
something.
even then, it's never
It's just
perfect.
like a relationship.
There is no perfect home.
Right? It's like a relationship. That's what I
Right,
tell them.
exactly.
The minute you find the home you like, it's like this in a relationship. When you're single, for example, you're out there wondering where are all the guys, where are all these single guys, right? Or maybe the guys are saying that. And then the moment you're in a relationship, all of a sudden there's all these single guys interested, right?
That's exactly what happens.
And that's exactly what happens. Same for men to women. It's like a home. When you find that home that you like and you're like, well, it's been on the market 200 days, no one wants it. And then your realtor says, no, put in the offer because you never know. I found this to happen several times where there have been multiple offers at one time on the same day.
I've had that happen too.
That house
Yeah.
was there forever.
And we thought we were, you know, my buyer was getting all cocky. Oh, we're going to get this. You know, and all of a sudden,
Yeah.
yeah.
All this interest.
Well, and also the listing agent might not be telling you that there's other offers on the table. So
Yeah, we don't know.
we don't know what's happening on their side all the time.
Sometimes,
We
yeah.
can try to reel in some information and find out what they're doing, but a lot of times they don't share that information.
Okay, so here we are.
Okay.
Step one, find a great realtor, someone who's going to have your back, who can negotiate, who's going to answer their phone, who has experience, who knows how to do paperwork. That's step one. Someone who's a registered realtor is always good. Someone, you know, like we work with Aura, so we can list homes on the MLS and it goes out and into Zillow, where Zillow Premier Agents, someone who can get into a lot of avenues
And
through
has
social media
resources.
and resources.
Works with the best surveyors,
Inspectors,
inspectors.
title company.
You want them connected to the community and knowing which ones to avoid and which ones are top notch.
Yes. So then the next step is once you have your realtor, you also want to make sure you get pre-approved for a loan.
Not
because-
pre-qualified, pre-approved.
Yes.
Big difference.
Yes, because pre-qualification, tell them what the difference is. Sandy.
Pre-qualification just means that they have not reviewed the documents that you have submitted. They're going by what you said that you make, what all that is just very brief, vague details. They have not reviewed everything. And there's a big difference from just submitting random information to the documents that you have submitted. And it could be whether a big difference from approved and not approved.
Mhm.
So you really want to go that extra step with your lender, not just fill out something on the internet. You want to submit all the documents and ask your lender to put you on the fast track if you're in a hurry to get approved. But that's honestly, I don't think being pre-qualified is worth the paper it's written on. And I personally encourage my sellers not to take those offers too serious if it says pre-qualification. You want to see the conditions and that are left, and hopefully there's not too many of them in a pre-approval.
And I believe the biggest part of it is really finding out how much you can afford.
Right.
Because, you can say, I want this house that's $700,000, but you're only approved for 500.
Yeah.
So if you have a realtor showing you homes for 700,
It's a waste of time.
you're really going to be upset when you see the difference of a home for that price and one for 400 or 500. So you want to keep your expectations wherever you can afford. So getting that, whether it is a pre-approval, pre-qualification, like she said, pre-approved is the best. But if you get a pre-qualification just so you can get out the gate and start shopping, then you need to make sure you know how much in general you can afford, even with payments. Like, what is your payment? And that all depends on your down payment. Now, if you're doing a first home buyer program, FHA, and you don't have a lot to put down, your payment's going to be higher. But that's okay if you can afford that payment. So that's why it's important to find a lender that can talk to you and you can get what you need out of the process. Make sure you know that payment's going to work for you, that amount's going to work for you, all of those things. So,
and also a lender will tell you if you can, if your payment works with an HOA. Sometimes the HOA pushes you over the limit, your HOA payments. So talking to a good lender that's going to say, are you looking in deed restricted areas? Because that will change your payment, what payment you qualify for. So
Yeah.
there's me and property taxes too.
In Florida, we have a lot of HOA.
Yeah, we do.
Tacked onto homes. And so a lot of people who move here, I know when I moved here from Colorado, I was like, why does everyone have HOA?
Yeah.
Only in Colorado we have HOA or gated communities in very ritzy, uppity areas. But here it's like everywhere. So if you're moving to Florida, just be aware that you're going to probably have an HOA unless you live a little like further out from everything else, like much further out, because there's not a lot of, it depends on the area too, the zip code, but majority, a lot, I'd say that I've shown have HOAs.
More and more, all the new developments are going to be HOA.
HOA.
Construction. Yeah.
Yep.
Only the older ones, and a lot of them have an HOA. That's another thing. They have an HOA, but it's voluntary. So you don't have to pay HOA dues. You volunteer your payment. Or they have HOAs that have no payment at all. So, or they're inactive. So just because those are the older neighborhoods. But I would say probably all the new constructions are now, new construction developments have an HOA.
Okay, so we've got the first steps out of the way, which is finding the realtor that works with you for you, talking to a mortgage lender, finding out what you're pre-approved for, if you're doing FHA or not, in a buyer's market, which is right now, I'd say we're in a buyer's market. This is what that means is those who are buying, I guess the numbers are in your favor. Because the competition is not as high, so it's called buyer's market. So when it's a seller's market, the competition is high, and this is a great time for someone to sell their home. Buyers are
beating on your door.
Yeah, so that would be so you want to make sure you have your pre-approval. You want to, after that, the next step in buying a home is your realtor should put you through a MLS where you can start getting homes sent to you on a regular basis. Right. And so if you want a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, whatever that is, that realtor should be sending those to you, hopefully on a daily basis. Window shopping. And then, really honing in on the location, the county, the zip code you want to be in, because if you're, moving here and you're like, well, I can move anywhere up from, Lake Mary down to Davenport, you're going to be driving
all over the place.
All over. It's so much
overwhelming.
Better. It is. And so I tell people, what are the most important things for you? For instance, is it school? Is it your work you want to be close to? Whatever's the most top 5 things that are important for you to have in that area, that's where we need to look. Right. Because we're just going to be sending homes from all over, and you're going to get frustrated, and it's going to be tiring for everybody to go. So
burning through gas too.
Yeah, and time. And so the biggest key is figuring out the exact location you want to be in. Right. If it's Lake Nona, or if it's this, then start sending you homes like crazy, like, oh, this one is great in Lake Nona, or wherever it is. I'm just giving an example. And then finding out what's important. If you're married, that's so important, right? I've dealt with, a husband and wife, and the wife wanted, for instance, a pool. The husband didn't, So when I talk to couples, and maybe you can give some ideas of what you do, but when I talk to couples, I always say, you guys should come together and write down your top 10 most important things and make sure they're in line with each other. Things you can kind of do away with, because as we mentioned, in a relationship, for example, you're never going to find the perfect person, right? You're never going to really find the perfect home. There'll be some kind of something, even if you buy a new home, right?
Right.
There's always going to be a ding, a crack, whatever it might be. But what is most important? Having that bedroom downstairs, upstairs, having 2 floors, 1 floor, having a backyard, a pool or not. Those are key things that I tell my people to do that you should write down now if you're starting to think about buying. What do I want?
What are your deal breakers?
Yeah, what is important to you?
Because
Right?
that way you don't, if there's deal breakers that we do not want to pull, then
Exactly.
you just have to eliminate all those homes that have to have a fireplace.
Yeah, and the
So-
fireplace, there are some here in Florida.
We
I've seen
do
them.
have quite
I've
a
seen them.
bit.
Yeah, which I was surprised, but I'm happy
We
about
do.
because I do like fireplaces
A lot of
too.
them are gas.
Yeah.
But a lot of the older homes are wood burning, and
Mhm.
those are fun.
All right, we're going to go to the next step. So
Okay.
once you figure out the houses that you really want to look at, I've shown people like 6 houses to 8. I mean, I'm crazy like that. I'll stack them because, for me, I know it's a process, but it's important for people to see those houses as much as they can in the same day. So that way they don't forget. I have them take notes or pictures of the top ones that they like or don't like.
Okay.
Right? That's what I do. You
Yep.
can tell me what you do, but then we'll plan it like on a Saturday or a Wednesday, whatever works for that person. We'll look at these houses and I let the person really look at that house to determine, because you know what? Let's be honest. Whenever we go somewhere, we know what we like or don't like.
Yeah.
We know what our taste
I've
is.
had clients, we pull up in the driveway and I said, we don't need to go inside.
We don't need to go in. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to talk anyone into buying a home
Yeah.
because I want them to be happy with their decision. It's
Yeah.
not my decision. I'm there to assist. I'm there to do the paperwork, to do the negotiation, to give them information, to find, do the legality part as much as
Give them moving boxes.
yeah, however I can help. That's what I'm here for. But I'm not here to push prod or say, this is the
Right.
one, look at this. Oh my gosh, this chandelier, whatever it is. I let them go in. People know the husband and wife. I can be as hands-on as they want or as hands-off.
Well, you had mentioned that you like to knock out 8 to 10
Yeah,
homes in a day.
depending on the timing.
Me, I'm a little different. I find out from my client, and you may do the same thing too. I find out from my client, okay, where is your threshold? Where do you start like checking out and that you're not even paying attention?
That's true too.
And so I find out, do you want to go
Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah. all day long, or do you just want to do 4 at a time and then digest and then regroup, evaluate? Do we need to go further, or did we find it in the first 4?
That's
so
true.
I'm the type of person, my personality is there eventually just go ding, the curtain goes down.
Well, we go for lunch, so that's how I separate it. So I
Some
usually
people are like that.
Yeah.
Eventually, it's just like in school. You're listening to a great speaker, and then all of a sudden, the
You check out.
The curtain goes
I
down.
usually get those A-person type person. Well, I don't always get the A-type personalities, but the people that are like investors where they're like, okay, Kathleen, I got 1 day to knock this out. I don't got a bunch of time. So I deal with a lot of investors and
Right.
they're like, let's just hit it. Let's go. I'm here for 1 day or 2 days and I don't got time to. So we'll go eat lunch or take a little break and come back out. But I'm not by all means saying we got to see all these houses in 1 day. But I do believe it's helpful for some, especially investors, to really maximize their time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, for someone who lives in this
Especially if
area,
they're from out of town. They
That's
flew
what I'm
in for
saying.
A weekend.
that's what I'm saying,
Yeah,
because
it
I
changes
help
everything.
a lot of investors, especially with Airbnb and with long-term rentals to get homes, and they only have a day here. Maybe
Right.
their husband will, or a lot of times the husband will come and then he'll have his wife come out another time to come see the home that he thinks she'll like.
Right.
So it's this whole process. Also, Sandy, what we do is we give video tours, right? So
Correct.
for those of you
Out
who
of state.
can't be, feet on the ground, that's what we do. And we don't hide anything that's like broken or whatever. I'll be like, there's a crack, there's this, we want to make sure
You
that
point out the flaws too, not
Yeah.
just
the benefits, the good things, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to help you with your words. Yeah. So, okay. Now, after they've found a home, what's the
Mhm.
next step, Sandy?
After they found a home,
That
then you
they
have to
like.
write the offer. You have to, the agent needs to be able to help you determine what's the value of the home. Just because it's listed at a certain price does not necessarily mean that's what it's worth.
Mhm.
So next we run comps, we evaluate each ones in the neighborhood that are equivalent, very similar, and determine what is the best offer. And, you don't, some people want to go below offer, and you can do that, but sometimes it can be insulting to a seller. So you have to be very careful. And when presenting the offer, I personally want to make sure that the other agent knows how we came up with that number. So they don't just think that we're trying to be insulting if it's not where they're at, and that we didn't just pull the number out of the hat.
Right.
And if you present how you came up with that offer, numbers don't lie. And I tell people, numbers don't lie. So if we are presenting the offer in a way that shows that we are where we should be, then can't argue with that too much.
That's true. And I love to negotiate. I'm like a dog with a bone. I have fun, it's a great thing. But I also want the people who are buying to really put themselves in the shoes of the seller.
Right.
I tell them, okay, if this were your home and you were selling this home, would you go down by $50,000 right now?
Right.
Right?
Right.
Just like a seller.
Common sense.
I do that with sellers because sometimes it's always like the buyers want the best deal and the sellers want the best deal. Everybody wants the best deal. We got to meet in the middle. But when selling a home, sellers often, there's so much emotion to a home and they put so much work and years and effort. And so they're going to want top dollar. And with my sellers, I do the same thing. I say, look, if you were to drive down the street and get into this house, none of your furniture is here. There's no memories, none of that. Would you buy it for the price you're wanting it right now? I've had so many tell me, no, I'd have to say like at least this much lower. It's funny because you can't try to sell something that you wouldn't buy for that price. So it's common sense, but we don't always think like that, right? Mm-hmm. So when you're out here buying, we're going to be able to negotiate for you, but we want to be realistic. And what I also tell people, we're going to do, like you said, we're going to investigate, make sure it's the right amount that we're putting the offer in for. And then what we'll do is, let's say the offer gets accepted. Okay. We agree. The offer gets accepted. Yay. During the inspection period, because there's this inspection period. Okay. During that inspection period, if there's something wrong, usually we do an as-is contract. That's at least what I've done.
Which means that you're accepting the property the way it is. But that inspection period allows you to change your mind if you find things that aren't quite right with the property.
Exactly.
You're maybe no longer accepting it as is, and you can make requests at that time.
Exactly. And not to mention, even though it's as is, doesn't mean it's as is.
Right.
So that gives you, the realtor, room to further negotiate. So maybe you put in your best foot forward,
And this is, I'm going to touch on this real quick.
Yeah.
This is why it's important to make sure that your house is in the condition to sell as is and disclose everything up front. Don't hide anything, because in the inspection process, they might find it.
Yep.
And chances are that if they have a good inspector, they will find it. And then you're opening yourself up to renegotiating again.
Exactly. So put it in there, everything out, lay it all out on the table. And again, we always can use this as a relationship. Don't pretend you're someone you're not. Just be who you are. That way, in 6 months, you're not, figuring this out like, why did I do this? Or there's no legal problems, just put it out on the table when you're selling and also when you're buying. Like, this is what I can do. And if we need to negotiate because there is some kind of issue, that's what we can do. We can
and make it an issue that you didn't know about. If you know about things, don't hope that they're not going to find it, because it could come back and haunt you. And then you have a buyer that doesn't trust you anymore.
Exactly. And so they accepted the offer. Now we have a time in the offer, we put an inspection period. The inspection period says 15 days, but typically what I do, Sandy, 7 days, because if a house has been on the market a long time already, for example, or if it's a crazy market, either way, A seller doesn't want their house off the market for a long time because the longer it's off while you're deciding if it's going to be a good to go home, the longer it shows that it's on the market and the more people are saying, why hasn't this house sold yet? What's going on? And they start to question, like there must be something wrong with it.
Plus, it shouldn't take that long. If you have a good inspector, they should be able to get out to the house in 24, 48 hours. And then after the inspection, they'll spend the day there. 4 to 6 hours, depending on the size of the home. But they'll get the report to you before you go to bed that night.
Exactly. And it's not hard to determine, like, okay, this is where, when we go through the inspection, the inspector goes through it with us, and then we go through it with the buyer. And then you determine, do you want to negotiate? Do you want to pull out? And with that, you will get that money that you put down, which I didn't mention. There's a 3-day escrow period. So once they've accepted your offer, you have 3 days to make an escrow payment, which is typically between $5,000 and $20,000, depending on the size of the home. And that goes to the title company. And they hold that during the inspection period. If you pull out for whatever reason during the inspection period, your realtor, their job is to do a cancellation and release form to release that property back to the owner and say, we don't want it. And you receive your escrow money back. It's really a good faith.
And you want to make sure that your agent does not miss that deadline.
Yes. So
often it happens.
It's never happened with me.
Not me either, because I'm big on critical dates. I make sure that they're put in my, on my calendar, reminders. I never have missed a date, but I've watched other buyers agents let it go. And then it's like escrow's gone hard.
No, you can't do that.
So you got to be very careful. You want somebody that's going to stay on top of everything.
That's what I tell my buyers. My biggest goal is to protect your money, to protect your escrow. So that way, after the inspection, if you do or don't want it, perfect. We're going to keep it there, or we're going to retrieve it back as soon as possible.
Right.
And so after that, if escrow and if the inspection's good, you love the home, we're going to go forward. Then really the next steps, they're just working with the lender to finish everything out.
Survey.
The title company will take care of, survey, make sure the title's good, all of that. And then we have our closing date. And
don't forget the appraisal if there's a lender.
That's true. So there's an appraisal that's done. A lot of times if it's priced right and you've offered the right amount, it will get appraised pretty much at the same amount.
Right. It's very rare. I mean, I've only seen it a couple of times where the appraisal came in higher than the contract price because the lender just wants to know that it's worth what the contract price is, and that's where the appraiser stops. Typically.
Exactly. So if you have any questions, please feel free to email me or Sandy. I'll put her information up. But if the appraisal's good to go, then what happens if the appraisal's not good, Sandy?
Well, then you're back to negotiating again.
Right.
And that's always fun. It's very rare that if the agents have done if they have reviewed the comps, that's where the buyer's agent has got to do their job, is to make sure that the house is worth what you're offering. And we have a lot of the same programs that appraisers have. It's not the same. We're not appraisers. We're not claiming to be appraisers.
Right.
Because their job, they work hard too.
Everyone has their job.
Get close. We can get close. And it's important to make sure that you're not way out of the ballpark. And because, man, when that appraisal does not come through to the contract price, then it's up to the buyer's agent and the seller's agent to read the appraisal, make sure that there's no mistakes in there, because I've seen where the pool was left off. I've seen that where the pool was left off, or in-ground jacuzzi was left off, and that can make the difference between 5 to 10, 20,000. So you want to go through that appraisal with a fine-tooth comb, and then go back to the appraiser and say, hey, there's an error. Can we get that fixed?
And that's if it appraises lower.
Lower, that's true. And if it appraises higher.
Well, if it appraises high, yeah, you're right. And it's a benefit if it appraises lower, I suppose, for the buyer. In some ways, it still causes an issue because then there's negotiating, but they may be able to get a better price.
And if it appraises higher, the seller never knows about it because the lender just says it appraises.
Yeah.
They're appraised, and that's it.
That's it. So after that, you go to the title company, and if you're like a lot of my investors, you're just doing it from another state. What happens is they will send out a person who does, what do you have?
Mobile closings.
Mobile closings.
Yeah.
And they are mobile notary. So you don't have to be at the title company. Of course, everything's electronic now. So as long as you let them know you're going to be in New York or wherever you're going to be, they'll send that paperwork to you 2 days typically before the closing or the day before, have you sign everything. And then the finances, of course, whether it's a lender or if it's cash, need to be wired into the certain account that they tell you to wire
It's a
it
trust
through.
account. And well, we probably shouldn't get into that, but there's a lot of wire fraud. So when wiring, just make sure that you follow the instructions from the title company, because they do not want your money going somewhere where it shouldn't.
No, because there's been some fraud. So we
Yeah.
always make sure it's from the right title company. So after that, you will get to either see your realtor or you'll see your home when you come out here
Yeah.
and get your keys and everything else. And you've purchased your first home. Or maybe it's your second home and you've done it through FHA. And of course, like we mentioned earlier, you don't have to be a first-time home buyer. It's just a program that can be used if it's your first home that you bought like in 3 years.
But there are a lot of first-time homebuyer programs in addition to. So
Mhm.
we'll touch base on that.
We'll be talking
another
more.
day.
We have a lot that we want to share. So if you're moving to Florida and you're looking for a realtor, a team, you can reach out to me or Sandy. We would love to help you. We are a team. We have a team that's growing right now. It's exciting. And 2026 is going to be a great year. And now is the time to get the ball rolling, guys.
Right.
So don't be afraid to make that step. If you've never bought a home, remember buying versus renting. There's so many benefits to buying and having your own little bank account in your home, having your own investment, right? So, Sandy, anything else you'd like to share before we finish here?
No, I think we've touched on probably just about everything. Hopefully you guys are still with us. But just it's an exciting time to when, especially first-time home buyers, and getting out from under the renting umbrella. It's there's so many benefits to it that should be your benefits, not your landlord's.
All right. Well, you guys have a wonderful day. We're going to continue with these recordings. If there's a subject that you want to learn about, let us know. Put it in the comments. We will do a video on it and help you. And hopefully we can help you with your first home purchase, your investment, or selling, or even buying your second home. Have a wonderful day.
Bye.